You are welcome to Rwanda Basic Education Board Multimedia Production Studio. This is Inside the Mind under the program called Study Hub. I am Ezekiel Tuishime. These are my names. Mr. Paul Kagame, the President of Republic of Rwanda, said that sports is a teacher of values, sacrifice, humility, honesty, and teamwork. If we don't work in a team, we can't achieve the goals or objectives that are settled. I'm not alone in the studio. On my left side, we have Kagesera Fidel. You're most
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you.
He is a sports education and training officer at Rwanda Basic Education Board. On the other side, we are with Bayavuge Noel. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
He is a physical education and sports curricular officer at REB. Mr. Noel, which levels of education do you consider while designing curriculum, and what do you base on?
Thank you. Designing curriculum requires a lot of things, which we have to base on as a curriculum officer. The curriculum has different parts. For example, you have to see about the content. After content, we have to see how to organize learning activities and the materials to be used during implementation of curriculum, and how the curriculum or learners will be assessed. For physical education and sport, we have different stages and ages of learners, which also we have to base on. The framework shows us how we have to go step by step by providing what learners have to learn. So we base on curriculum framework, and also we have to base on the age and stage of development of learners while developing physical education and sport curriculum.
The way we see sports in the schools, you doing well and hard, so we appreciate. Mr. Fidel,
Yes.
when you're training teachers, I'm not sure if you only train teachers. Yeah, I'm not sure if you also train students. We really need to know what do you consider while choosing who and who to train.
So when we are choosing those teachers to be trained, of course, we have to consider different factors. There is another question you have asked if any teacher from, you have given us an example of English teacher,
Yes.
even others from other discipline. The answer is yes. Before I come back to the factors we consider when we are selecting those teachers to be trained. The answer is yes. Everyone from different discipline is welcome to be trained.
Wow.
Based on the knowledge he has or she has on sports science. When you say sports science, is the study of how the human body work during exercise. I mean physical exercise. And the impact that physical exercise has on human body. All those techniques needed to teach, of course, learners. Another factor that teachers should have or possess knowledgeable of how motivating and encouraging students when they are practicing, of course, sports. That teacher also should also have knowledge on how they can adapt those physical activities or sports to reach every level, every age of those learners they are teaching. So they have to adapt materials. If they are learners, those with different ages, They have to adapt material. Even in plywood, you can reduce size. You're adapting that.
Like when students are
Yes.
skipping the rope,
Mhm.
use the rope for primary one, the rope for primary six.
Even that rope, if it is a rope of 1 meter or 2 meters, it can be reduced because of the size, the height of that, even the height.
In the studio, I'm with Bayavugie Noel. He's a physical education and sports curricular officer at Rwanda Basic Education Board. Kagesera Fidel is a physical education and training officer at REB Steel. Mr. Noel, after preparing, after designing a curriculum, there must be some of the initiatives, some of the programs that you put in place, such that you enhance the sports education in schools. What are the initiatives? What are the programs that are there to enhance sports in schools?
So what we have at school nowadays is a school sport policy. It is an initiative, I can say is initiative or a policy which has been set by the MINEDIC, the government of Rwanda through the MINEDIC, after observation of how school sports activities are being implemented in schools. So it is a policy that helps us to implement not only our subject, physical education, but school sport in general, because there it guides us how to cater or to face all challenges that we meet when we are in the physical education and sports and sport in general. Aside from curriculum, we have also the policy, school sport policy, and the strategy plan. So those are two documents or two guides that help us to see how we have to implement school sport policy at school level. So this is another initiative. But well, aside from this policy, we can see, for example, we have different academies, schools, where, the most big team from the Europe, PSG, Bayern, can come and start academies in our schools, and you have learners who can go and develop their talent. The mandate of LAB is to produce and distribute teaching and learning materials. For physical education and sport, we have textbooks produced. Those textbooks includes the teacher guides and the student books for TTCs students. So those are textbooks which have to be delivered to school, because for PES teachers need teacher guides that can show them how to deliver a lesson, how to plan a physical education lesson, which are the learning activities that could be incorporated in my lessons, how to assess, how to manage, as my fellow colleague said, how to manage a classroom. We have what we call teacher guide. It is in general the guide a teacher have to use in order to help him to be well organized before, during, or after teaching the lesson of physical education and sport. So LAB distributes PES curriculum in schools for different levels, for primary, secondary. Nowadays, LAB has started initiative of providing sport materials at schools. For example, balls for different disciplines: volleyball, basketball, handball, and football. And those balls have been delivered to 16 TTCs across the country. So we started with TTCs because it is where student teacher, so this is the technical term for students from TTCs, are the ones who have to come and teach physical education in the primary schools. So we have to equip TTCs with the basic sports materials so that they can be able to have more practices and be familiar with all those balls. For example, while they are doing what we call micro teachings. So this is when they are running how to teach physical education. So LAB will keep distributing learning materials related to sport to schools and increase the number of schools that are receiving those materials.
Mr. Fidel,
Yes.
the routine is something you always do, even if you're sleeping, you think about it, even if you're moving, you think about it. Routine is our
eating.
life.
Even eating, it's our routine.
It's our routine.
Exactly.
Yes.
Do you think sports is also a routine? If
Yeah.
yes, tell us the reason why we need sports as a routine. You know,
Yes, the answer is yes. Sports should be our routine, or it is our routine. We are encouraged and we used to mobilize runners, even other people, to practice sports. Sports is a medicine. If it's a natural medicine, if it is a natural medicine, so we are devised to practice it and it become our routine, preventing different chronic disease, those diseases that attack hearts, we know diabetes, even preventing the overweight, the obesity. Those people from hospitals are advised to go and practice sports. Those sports, we know the sports we used to practice are those jogging, even swimming. It's a sport that you are advised to practice and become our natural medicine. Sports is also a stress reliever. When peoples or learners participate in sports, there are other values that will be developed from there and be transferred in our daily life. When different sports are practiced through team, when we talk of team, there is also a compound noun called teamwork.
teamwork as
So,
a value.
When they are playing within a team, they will at the same time teamwork. They are cooperating. They are creating friendship. There's so many even problem solving, critical thinking when they are passing each other in football or volleyball. They have to think what they are going to do before doing it. For example, when you are going to shoot or to make penalty there, you have to think critically and react. Those skills and the knowledge acquired from sports are also necessary, are also needed in our daily life. So sports need to be our daily routine. Thank you.
Wow, very much. It is also advised to people who are in the offices who oversee it you from morning until evening. You're sitting. You need to get a time over the weekend,
Yes.
and after office you go and practice sports, such that we become and we stay healthy. Mr. Noel,
Yes, please.
been talking about skills.
Yes.
Let's relate curriculum and skills and the values.
Yes.
What are the values do you consider while designing curriculum?
While designing curriculum, as I said, we based on three things. One is about the knowledge and understanding what the learners have to learn from physical education and sport. So key concept, some basic knowledge that the learner has to know and to capture from the content. We have also skills. For skills, can have a practical aspect where learners have to perform a range of physical activities and exercises. As my colleague said, we have different discipline based on two categories. There is individual and the collective sport. For each category, we try to help learners to get some skills, basic skills based on the age and as I said, and the stage of development. So, for example, we can use plays and games to help learners to get some skills from those plays and games. So we have what we call game situation, where learners try to apply the knowledge and the other concept learned, but through what we call skills. For example, for assessment and observation, I can say, I see a learner is passing correctly the ball. This is a skill, is a practical skill from the curriculum. A learner is able to play in a team and score a goal. This is a skill. So in physical education, we have a lot of skills, but mainly those skills are based on practical skills. We have what we call attitude and values. So you say the values, but we can also consider attitudes. If you say the values, Nyarwanda indangagaciro, and the attitudes, how someone is feeling. So we consider those things in physical education and sport, because we have also to design a curriculum, physical education and sports curriculum, which help learners to develop or to be developed in different domains. As you said, there is development of a physical, being physically fit, but also we have to develop their emotional status, how they can behave at school or outside of school, and even we have what we call the social competencies. We can have some values and attitudes, for example, being self-confident. There is respect, because when you are in physical education or sport or in sport in general, the learner have to respect rules, to respect instruction from teachers. So there is determination. There is a teamwork spirit, to work in a team. Even there is teaching learners how they have to behave generally, to have what we call self-discipline.
And fairness.
Yes, and fair play. So those are different attitudes and values that we can gain from performing physical education and sport, not only those one, but also sport in general. But the main purpose or target we focus on is to have a learner who will be a good citizen. After secondary school, the learner will go in the society. We have to consider this one to be a good citizen and be productive for our country.
I like the process by which you design curriculum into writings, it goes into papers, you print, but at the end result, you really need the outcome.
Yes.
The good Rwandan, the good citizen who is competent, who has the values and skills that can help him or her to develop. Those students who are in boarding, those who like sports much, they spend a long time in sports, then they forget the studies. Those who never like sports, they spend a long time in books, reading and answering questions and homeworks. So the researches are made. Now, we really need your advices to the students. The students have responsibilities to learn, but also sports is another thing that comes in to help learners, to learn better. What are your advices to ensure the high performance?
The first advice I can advise them is still is to have what you call time management. They have to manage time reserved for sports and time reserved for classroom activities. When I say classroom activities, there is also sport activities at playground. They can also create a small schedule for themselves for classroom activities and even the activities practiced at playground. I can also advise them to set realistic goals. Sometimes students who are talented in sports, they can bend to the side
To the
of
sports activities.
yes. But they have also to remember that they are there to acquire that academic content, which will be needed in their long life. They have also to communicate with both coaches or sports teacher in charge of sports, and even teacher of other subjects, and attend regularly even those different activities.
You mean communication is life in sports? I've
Yeah.
ever seen it in a football. You don't communicate to the defender as a goalkeeper. You know, the striker from the other side will, will
Yeah.
score the goal. But allow me to cut you short.
Yeah.
Let's talk about gender balance, gender equity. The advice to the girls, especially, and the boys who have the issues, who never, participate in sports, but come on a gender equity.
Previously, girls have been lagging behind, yeah, but currently things are good. Even in our schools, girls are participating in sports. Local leaders are still mobilizing parents to encourage those girls to participate in sports. For example, in schools, if you have football team of boys, you can also find football team for girls. Both are participating. So our schools are promising, they are encouraging girls. By encouraging girls to participate in those sports, we are also promoting that gender balance.
For gender equity and gender balance, in sport, it is the most important thing we have to consider also while we are designing a curriculum, teach the textbooks and so on. Let's take one example. He said creating teams for girls to participate in a school competition. But also there is encouraging girls to feel free to participate in all sport activities, because there are some sport disciplines girls in the previous year were afraid of joining, for example, karate, judo, playing football. But nowadays, girls are participating in all sport disciplines. Even in the preparation of lessons, we tell or we require teachers to consider participation of all students, regardless of sex or gender.
How do you ensure the inclusivity in schools?
Within our curriculum, not only for physical education and sport, but for other curriculum, for mathematics, we consider inclusivity in what we plan or we develop, and we try to guide teachers how they have to behave, or what they have to do in case they meet with learners with disabilities or other learners with other special educational needs. So let's take one example. In physical education and sport, or in sport in general, you can go to teach a classroom, and within that classroom, there is a student who is in a wheelchair. And then it is time for physical education and sport lesson. Let's assume you are going to teach basketball or volleyball or another type of game. As a teacher, you have to know how to rate that one, be involved in sport activities as others. So my colleague said, While designing curriculum, we try to focus on instructions and how this one have to do so that one with disability be involved in those activities. A learner in a wheelchair, so you have to see which activity this one have to be involved in with other students at the same time.
So that child in a wheelchair,
Yes.
has to come
Yes.
himself
Yeah.
alongside with others in sports.
And they play basketball, volleyball, and even with other games with others. So, for example, if you plan the flex for shooting the ball into the basket, you try to see the height of the basket, where the basket is located. So it is better you can reduce down so that this one in wheelchair can play and shoot. If it's about, for example, for dribbling or passing, so you can say, play so that this one also be involved in this activity. So this is the skill a teacher can possess so that he can help learner with disabilities or other difficulties to be participative in the sport activities. Also, we can adapt the materials and infrastructure based on the level or degree of disability or other challenges. So clearly, our curriculum and our teacher guides have a lot of guidance which a teacher have to master before going to teach physical education, and see how this one can cater all those challenges while teaching physical education and sports. When we have some learners with disabilities or other special education needs. We have also curriculum with intellectual challenges or disabilities. Within this curriculum, we have the part of physical education, where learners with intellectual challenges or disabilities have also to play and to play games and to do some physical exercises. We have also the curriculum for adult education, for physical education. So even though the adult people can perform sport activity, as Fidel said, sport activities has a lot of benefit to our life and health. While the adult people are learning, for example, literacy, numeracy, they have also to perform or to practice some physical exercise and sport exercise that can help them to be physically fit and to have a good health.
Sports is a tool that we can use to ensure success for all. When we do sports, we can do each and everything. When students are learning while practicing sports, they can perform better. This is Rwanda Basic Education Board Multimedia Production Studio. I'm with Bayavuge Noel. He's a Physical Education and Sports Curricular Officer at Rwanda Basic Education Board. We are also with Kagesera Fidel. He's a Physical Education and Training Officer at Rwanda Basic Education Board. Remember, Mr. Paul Kagame, the President of Republic of Rwanda, he said that sport is a teacher of values, sacrifice, humility, honesty, and teamwork. When we work together, when we do sports, we can reach many things. We can stay healthy, we can stay strong. I cannot leave you without talking about the challenges that you are facing during trainings of teachers. What are the challenges, the main ones?
In collaboration with schools, of course, and even different partners. We are facing with them, but we are trying to handle them. Some of the challenge is those insufficient infrastructure or inadequate. So they are not enough, and some of them are not adequate. Another challenge, there are some schools are not yet balancing those academic activities, they know that learner is there to study, to sit in a classroom and learn the content only. But they have to balance the time for let learners practice sports and learning the content. We still have some parents are not aware of not rate the girls to participate in sports. It is their law to encourage them, to let them participate in sports like girls. We do not have a big number of specialized people specialized in sports. Even our teachers, that is why we are talking about training. CPD, continual professional training, is needed as a solution, of course, because we still have a big number of teachers of physical education in sports who are not qualified in sports. It's another challenge, but solution, ongoing solution, it's just keep preparing, keep planning, organizing training for them.
The challenge we have, and we are still pushing to change what we call the mindset of some head teachers about the importance of physical education and sport. Some of them, they do not take the PES subject based on the importance. They can replace, for example, the time for PES and
Put their mathematics.
Exactly. So this is about the mindset. Mindset should be changed, and the head teacher have to know if learners perform or practicing sports activities, it will help them to learn and perform in other subjects. Number two is about the sport infrastructure at school. Some schools do not have space reserved for example, playground and courts, or where the learner can perform different sport activities. It is a challenge, but we advise school head teachers and teachers of physical education to see how they have to organize these lesson or sport activity, either by using the space available at school, or they have to share local communities courts. For example, if your school is located in a sector and you can find out near the school, the playground, you can go and use it.
Why not ICT?
Oh, yeah. ICT sometimes is for the theoretical lessons. You can use, for example, computers, projectors, and so on. This is for during classroom. But what I said is outside classroom, because we have two parts. There is the part of a teacher can deliver lesson during classroom. That time can use ICT tools and can be easy. For example, the teacher can show learners how to pass, to do different techniques by using a video, by using projector. But there is also time for putting in practice of what they have observed. So is what I said, it is better you can use ICT tools for teaching and learning, but we need also another laboratory of physical education. The laboratory of physical education is playground, is a court, is where you have to put in practice what you have learned. So as a solution, they have to share playground. They have also to create their own playground with free space available. And also head teachers have to make sure that allocated budget for sports is well used.
They say that sports can help learners to perform well. We also know that sport is a tool that we can use to ensure success and the performance in our schools. You know, we need to reach far, but we cannot reach our goals and the targets with no good health. Rwanda Basic Education Board Multimedia Production Studio is the one that you always follow. I am Ezekiel Tuishime. Bye.